This episode of Group Collect the Podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Group Travel Leader. Our friends at the Group Travel Leader are leading a familiarization tour in Alabama later this fall and would love for you to join them. This trip will visit Huntsville, Muscle Shoals, and Birmingham from September 30th through October 4th, and you can learn more and apply to attend at grouptravelleader.com/Alabama-fam. That link will also be listed in the show notes. And let me tell you something that'll sweeten this deal even more. Group Collect wants to cover your flights. That's right. Group Collect wants to cover your flights to Alabama for this fam tour. So we're going to help 5 companies get there by providing a $600 flight budget. So if you're interested in all this, what you're going to want to do is go on that application page and on the very last question, click that drop down and say you heard about this fam tour from a Group Collect announcement, which is this. But go apply now, because spots on the fam tour are limited, the deal for the flights is limited, and again, the website is grouptravelleader.com/Alabama-fam, link still listed in the show notes. But we've got a doozy of a show here for you. One production note, at one point we bemoaned the absence of our co-host Kathleen Lyles, and then later on in the show you'll actually hear her voice conducting the interviews, and that's because she was there when we recorded the interviews, and she wasn't when we recorded the segment where we say that she's out. But we also have Amy Cannon from SYTA on this show talking about the upcoming SYTA conference, which is in just a few weeks. She is also joined by her former colleague and current VP of Group Collect Sales, Sharon Keating. Folks, it's all right here on Group Collect, the podcast. All right, everybody, and welcome to Group Collect, the podcast. This is an early July edition. I am your host, Eric Young, coming to you from Orlando, Florida, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Ryan Kramer in Weymouth, Massachusetts. How you doing today, Ryan?
I am doing just fine, Eric. It's summertime. Who doesn't love summertime?
How is the summer treating you? How was your 4th of July holiday?
I had a fantastic 4th of July holiday. I went down to South Jersey, Long Beach Island, where I have some family, and spent a few wonderful days at the beach and being terrible at mini golf. How about you? What were you up to?
Just like bouncing around the pools here in Orlando, and just trying not to have my soul sucked out of my body from the heat, but
Yep.
Other than that, it was a wonderful 4th of July holiday. And that area of New Jersey that you were in, I'm just like woefully ignorant about New Jersey and the beach towns and whatnot. Is that like the famous boardwalky area, or?
So a little bit south, or well, actually, so the Jersey Shore, beautiful continuum of beaches. So a little bit north of Atlantic City, where you have that famous boardwalk, and a little bit south of where, Pauly D and Snooki and the crew and all of them hung out. So kind of between those destinations there. But yeah.
Gotcha. You really hit the nail on the head there, because I was wondering about the proximity to the Jersey Shore royalty, of course.
Yes.
So thanks for putting it in those terms for me. I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
That's, I think, we're, for better or for worse, that's where our minds go.
Notable absence today is, of course, the final pillar that normally rounds out our hosting trio, which is, of course, Miss Kathleen Lyles, our intrepid account manager. But she is out right now getting some well-deserved rest, and frankly, I love that for her. So we are going to just continue forth with this episode. We've got a really exciting one, as we always try to have here at Group Collect the podcast. But Ryan, we actually got to sit down with Amy Cannon of SYTA, and that's what this first interview is all about. Her and the Student Youth Travel Association. So with that, we will jump right into our interview with Miss Amy Cannon. All right, everybody. We have some very, very special guests here. Everybody, join me in welcoming, of course, we have Sharon Keating of Group Collect and Amy Cannon of SYTA. Amy, we are going to start off with you. Kathleen, you were going to kick things off with a couple of questions for Amy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Amy. Can you please tell us what is SYTA and why was it created?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. SYTA is the Student and Youth Travel Association, and it was created basically to bring cohesion to a growing industry. It was a group of individuals who were managing student travel and kind of doing it on their own. That came together and decided that we would be stronger together and to actually form an industry around student travel. So a group of folks got together, and as they will tell you, the founders, that SYTA started on a napkin. They got together and took some notes, and that napkin actually is still on display somewhere. I think it might be in our storage unit, but they came together and said, we need to come together so that we can be a stronger industry, so that we can have a greater voice, that we can advocate for this industry that a lot of people just really didn't know about. But it's a big industry. 25% of global tourism is actually student and youth travelers, which a lot of people don't realize. And so being able to come together and have one voice was really important for the industry as a whole.
That is big. We talked about it a little bit on our last podcast that it's like this whole secret society that, exists, but no one really knows about it.
But
And
if you see in March, then you're well aware.
yeah, very true. And then can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? How did you come to work for SYTA and what do you do?
You know what? I think my story probably follows a lot of people's that I fell into it, was not looking for it, maybe wasn't even aware of it, just like we just talked about, but had worked in nonprofit and association management as a career, and then came to find SYTA and quite honestly fell in love with the industry. Right now I'm the director of marketing and membership. So I handle all of our membership. So that's new people coming in, keeping the people that we have, hopefully, and just spreading the good word about SYTA is mainly what I do. But totally fell into this industry by happenstance. And like I said, I fell in love with it. I actually took a hiatus from the industry when I went to work for some other nonprofit associations. I thought, I'm going to spread my wings. I'm going to go try something else. I worked in other industries and then I came back because there was just no other industry like this. About 4 years ago, when the opportunity presented itself to come back into the industry, I jumped at it right away because, quite honestly, I missed it. We have amazing members. We have just amazing people that are so passionate about their work that I didn't feel I got that from other industries. So I was thrilled to be able to come back.
If I can interject a question real quick, Kathleen, before we get into the next one. Amy, I do think that that is a sentiment that is shared by many that work in group travel, but specifically student group travel. What do you think makes it so special?
That's a really great question. I don't know if I could say exactly what it is, but I will share with you a story, an experience that I personally got to have. So my first round with SYTA, I had the opportunity to travel with a group of students on what our SYTA Youth Foundation's Silver Lining program was called at the time. And so this was an opportunity where we took a group of students from our conference host city. So that year was Los Angeles, and we take them on a trip. So these are kids that have never traveled. So I got to actually go on this one trip and seeing these students, again, you're talking inner city LA, kids that quite honestly, some of them had never been to the beach. So if you know LA and you know the beach, it's not that far, but that's pretty much the bubble that they had lived in. They really had not traveled at all, like outside of their neighborhoods. And so we brought together this group of kids, and as they got on the bus, I think I was just as nervous as they were, seeing their faces. These are kids that had never left home, and a lot of them did not know each other. They were all from the same school. So this was just this kind of random group of kids coming together. And we took them to San Diego to SeaWorld for a few days
Ah,
and quite honestly opened their world.
yeah.
And kids that walked on that bus on the first day and the kids that walked off that bus on the third day were different people. And it was incredible to see the transformation. And so for me, I would think that maybe that's what other people feel about SYTA as well, right? The opportunity to see first-time travelers have their world opened up in new ways, have their world changed, be exposed to different cultures, to different people, to different ideas and experiences. And you can see it like it's a literal transformation. And so I think personally, that's probably why a lot of people are so passionate about our industry is we get like the first crack at these kids
Hmm.
and we're creating these lifelong travelers. And, for me, that's what it was. I think that sentiment is probably shared across the industry. Also, what's unique about SYTA is that we are part of just the overall travel and tourism industry. So we have members that we share with other associations like the American Bus Association, like National Tour Association, but we have a niche part of the market where we deal with just the students and youth. And so we're smaller, we're a little more family-like, I think. And so it just brings together this great feeling overall of what we get to do and who we get to do it with.
Yeah, I also think on the flip side, like if you do from the tourism professional side, as Amy was saying, it is like a family and it can't be recreated in other industries, at least because I left the industry for a while as well. And while I had great experiences doing what I did, it was not the same. So same kind of presented itself for me when I had the opportunity to come back. Amy was actually the first person I called. I was like, "Hey, Amy, I've got this opportunity. What do you think?" She's like, "You should definitely do it." So it's just like knowing that, like, even if we don't see each other, like we hadn't seen each other in like years, but I still was able to like just call her up and just, touch base with her about the product, about, obviously I knew Bud and Corey, but it's a different, coming into it from a different side, I thought was kind of an interesting angle. So I think the people and the professionals in the industry are different than those in other industries.
I
Yes.
definitely hear and have experienced that myself. There is another level of a feeling of family and camaraderie in group travel, specifically in student group travel. And then, Amy, to your point earlier, I come from the world of tour managing myself, so I have had those instances of taking a group that is from some rural area of America that's never left like their county, let alone their state, let alone been on an airplane, and then to witness the synapses firing and making these connections of what the witnessing their horizons expand in real time is, I think, what becomes intoxicating to professionals that are in this industry. You're like, man, I wish I could do this for every kid everywhere. And I think that that's what drives a lot of this industry, right?
Yep, agree.
Yes, absolutely. Well, then, bringing it back to SYTA, can you tell us just a little bit of the benefits of being a member of SYTA?
Absolutely. And I think we've kind of talked a little bit about it, really. It's those connections. It's being able to come together as an industry as a whole to be the voice of student travel. Tangible benefits. When a member joins, they get access to the member directory, which is how they can start to do business. So just like any other professional association, when someone joins, they're looking to grow, right? Either personal development or for their company. So our membership does follow the company. And we offer the opportunity to do business. We have the supplier side of membership, which is going to be everyone that a tour operator works with to execute a trip. So the hotels that the kids are staying in, the transportation that they're using, the attractions that they're visiting, the restaurants that they're dining in. And then there's the tour operator side, and those are the folks that put together the trip, plan the itinerary, and manage and execute the entire trip for the kids. So we bring those two pieces of the industry together to do business. So if a company is looking to grow their student market, they're going to want to join SYTA because that's where the student tour operators are. So again, these operators may also do adult business, leisure business. They have other pieces of the market, but if you're looking to specifically grow student and youth travel with your company, SYTA is the place to be.
That's awesome. You guys also offer some great education
We
as
do.
well too.
We do, and we've really, I feel like, ramped up our education. Thanks to Katie Summers, our director of education on our staff. She's done a fabulous job at really building out some fabulous webinars. We host several every month. And then, of course, at our annual conference, which I think we're going to talk about in a minute, we have education, all throughout the conference as well, so that you can get that one-on-one, face-to-face expertise of everything that's happening in the industry. And again, we also offer personal development education as well as professional too.
Awesome. So would it be like a one-on-one kind of like mentor-mentee kind of
We
program?
We do have a mentor-mentee program as part of our conference. It's a great way for a first-timer or a new member to SYTA to get matched up with a seasoned professional, someone who's been around the block, who can help guide that person through their conference, from everything from, what to wear, what to expect when you show up on the first day, all the way through months after with following up from those one-on-one business appointments that happen at the conference as well.
Awesome.
Now, so with that, we kind of wanted to drill down on the SYTA conference, the event itself.
Yep.
And so for that, I would like for you to explain to me just kind of like the lay of the land and the benefits of the conference, like I'm 5 years old, like I'm a 5-year-old with a tour operator company.
Got it.
Please explain to me SYTA conference. Why should I go to Savannah later on this year?
Yeah, perfect. So the SYTA annual conference is our premier event. It is where our members come together every year. It is always in August. It does travel around, which is kind of fun. So each year it will be in a new location. This year, as you mentioned, it is in Savannah, Georgia. We're very excited. They've been an amazing host city to work with, and I really think they're going to roll out the hospitality red carpet. So I'm excited for our members to experience Savannah. But it is where everyone comes together, again, to take part in education, to have these one-on-one business appointments, and basically to do business together, make those connections. It is over, I believe, 5 days. So we welcome everyone. We always host a big opening night event, which I'm super excited about. Savannah is hosting that this year to give us a taste of what their city will be. And then the following 3 days really is where kind of the meat of the conference is. And it's those what we call one-on-one business appointments. And it is basically professional speed dating. It is an opportunity for a supplier to sit across the table from a tour operator and to give their pitch, to say, this is my company and this is what I have to offer. They have the opportunity to share maybe SYTA specific member rates that a tour operator might be looking for, new things that are coming, highlight anything that would be attractive for a student group to come to their location. So it could be a Convention and Visitors Bureau saying, hey, you should come visit our city. This is what we have to offer. It might be a hotel saying, here's how many rooms we have and how many students we can accommodate. It might be an attraction saying, here's how we can give your students a 2-hour program and teach them X, Y, and Z. And so it really is, it's an introduction. It is not meant to be signing contracts or, really, bringing everything together, but it's an introduction to each other in these 6-minute professional speed dating appointments. So that goes on for 3 days. So if you can imagine from a tour operator perspective, they have a lot. They have full books and they'll end up meeting with about 160 different people. And so really the meat comes after the conference in the follow-up. So that's where those connections will start to solidify after the fact. But in addition to obviously getting business done, that's the purpose of the conference, we have a ton of fun. One thing that I love to hear from our members, if things are changing on their end and maybe they're switching to a role a different role in their company. So many times I hear people say, I accepted the role at my company with the caveat of I still get to attend SYTA. And so it is just a really fun conference. So each evening we will host different events. We have the opportunity to do some dine arounds and take advantage, especially in Savannah. The food, if you haven't been there, the food is amazing. Like just, I'm pretty sure when I visited, I put on 10 pounds.
It's
It
so good,
was
it's problematic. I
it's
agree.
exactly. It's so good. It's problematic. So this year we have two dine around nights because we
Oh man,
wanted people the opportunity to really enjoy the foodie scene that Savannah
for
offers.
sure.
And then we just again host some really fun events. So we'll have a closing night event. We have an event under the stars that's supporting our foundation. And what I always tell people is even if the meat of the conference is those one-on-one business appointments, the amount of business that still continues to get done on the transportation, at the events, during the luncheons is just as valuable. And yeah, my tagline that I've told people is just as much business gets done on the dance floor as it does on the show floor. So if you're looking again to grow your business or to make deeper connections, SYTA is the place to be. The annual conference for sure. I recommend it to all of our past members, and for our new members, I say it's an absolute given that you should be there. It's the way that you're going to meet the industry.
Well, I will say you just blew my 5-year-old mind with that answer, and so thank you. That does make a lot of sense, and I do know that the SITA conference in of itself is an institution in this industry. It is very well known. I'm going to go off book a little bit here, and just ask you, and if there's not really anything that you have to mention about this, it's okay. But for people that are familiar with SITA and have maybe been for many, many years now, is there anything about this forthcoming SITA in Savannah that you, as the SITA organization, are debuting for the first time, or a new component to the conference that you are excited for people to experience?
That's a really great question. So I've got to give a shout out here to my fellow colleague, Deb Borgwart, who handles our sponsorships. She's done an incredible job at bringing some new stuff to the SITA conference that we haven't seen before.
All
Um,
right.
so we are our show floor. It changes every year, again, depending on location, depending on space, depending on what we have. Well, the Savannah Convention Center has given us a lot of opportunity, and we've seized that opportunity. So our show floor is going to be greater, expanded more so than it ever has been. And with that, we have a lot of really fun activations, which I'm very excited about. So we have a puppy park, which you can stop and hang out with some adoptable puppies. So that might be dangerous if you're a dog lover. We have a tech lab, which I believe you guys might know a little something about.
Group collect us with tech. Oh,
Oh
never.
no.
Yeah, we have our barista bar, which is coming back, where we have a fabulous Puerto Rican coffee poured throughout the day. The Branson ice cream booth that
Oh yeah,
everybody loves to gather around
that's a
the.
staple.
What's fun is to always hear people say, "Okay, I have tried every flavor. I'm good now." Right? So everybody to pop into the ice cream bar every day. We have a wellness lounge where you can sign up for a lovely chair massage, which, when you're doing those appointments, it can be really taxing and tiring. And as a supplier, you're traversing the floor, running back and forth to appointments. And so to be able to take 15, 20 minutes and just relax, we'll have that wellness lounge. Another thing that we're doing this year, we're actually doing a wellness challenge. So you guys are the first to hear about it because we have not rolled it out just yet. But we are working with a company with this wellness app, and we're actually going to make this a little bit of competition. So there are some SITA members who are pretty competitive, and so we thought we're going to capitalize on that. It'll be an opportunity to participate in the challenge. You can earn points for the more that you walk, and the more that you walk, the greater the reward, and those rewards will go back to support a nonprofit foundation in the area of Savannah. So we're really
Wow.
excited to just roll out some new things this year. Um, And what I always say is because we have the opportunity to travel around and move our conference, we're in the travel industry, right? So
Yeah.
just being in a new city, even if it was cut and paste, if the conference was the same, this year is next year is the following year, we're always in somewhere new. So you get the opportunity to explore and adventure and learn about a place that hopefully for the host city's benefit, you're going to bring your student groups back to.
Absolutely. I love when news breaks here on Group Collect the podcast. So thank you for that. So all of the listeners now that wellness competition is looming in Savannah at SYTA later on this summer. So start to get those steps in now. You got to ramp up into it, or else you're
Absolutely.
gonna like pull a hamstring or something, you know?
Break in those tennis shoes now.
Right.
Sharon used to also work for SYTA as well. We haven't mentioned that. And I believe you two worked together at the same time.
Indeed.
Do you guys have any fun experiences or stories of your time working together you would like to share?
It's time to spill the tea.
Um,
What are what are the fun work time stories that come to mind?
I mean, they're literally endless, but probably my favorite story is our team decided. So the SYTA Youth Foundation has a running, how would you describe it, Amy? Like, I don't want to say a running club because we do marathons to raise money for the foundation. So our team decided that we were going to run a half marathon. So we get to the airport. It was Jenny, who's also on the Group Collect staff, Amy, myself. We get to the airport and our flight's canceled. So before we knew the flight was canceled, there was a happy hour. So we decided to kind of take over the happy hour situation, thinking we were going to stay at the airport and all would be well. Well, our flight got canceled. So we decided, I thought we were going to dinner, but Amy and Jenny had other ideas in mind to go to a place called Reston Town Center, if anyone's ever been to Northern Virginia. So we go, I don't think we ate dinner. I think we decided to go straight to have a few more cocktails, not realizing that our flight got changed to like 6 a.m., but also we needed to run a half marathon in a day and a half. So we go, we have a good time. Jenny has it, and even probably the best time of all of us, fair to say, Amy?
Absolutely.
And so we end up going back to my house. We end up falling asleep. Our alarm goes off. We have to get up, like immediately go to the airport, drive, and then find our way around Minneapolis and then run a half marathon. I'm leaving a few details out that are actually probably funny, but this is professional, podcast. So we're going to keep some of the tea probably a little close to the vest.
Hey, I mean, yeah, we'll have to create a spin-off show for like, the
Perhaps.
for the real details. But you all dealt with the cancellation, partied, rallied, and then hit the marathon.
We
Hit the
did.
flight, hit the marathon.
We did. And I will say, from a non-runner perspective, so from someone who goes from zero to let's do a half marathon, whatever that was all about.
Same.
There's nothing more internally shaming than looking behind and seeing like the police cars that pull up the race. Like
Bringing up the rear.
oh, I'm actually not qualified to be here whatsoever. But we are raising money. It was all for the good of the youth.
That's right.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some fun times. Yeah, we did some. I mean, we went all over the place. We went to Puerto Rico, we went to Cancun, we went to LA, we went to New York. Like, we had some pretty fun times. We do this, Jenny, Amy, and I have a little tradition that anytime we see each other, we do a coworker sandwich photo. So, the three of us squeeze our faces together. And our last one, Amy and I saw each other for the 2026 conference planning in Pittsburgh. Jenny was not there, so we did an open-faced sandwich photo. And it to Jenny, wishing she was there, so we may have to cut her into that photo. But
Well, thank you both. I appreciate you opening up the vault and sharing with us the fun stories from your time together at SYTA. So now that we have looked to the past, let's flip the script. And Amy, we want to ask, what do you see for the future of SYTA? Obviously, Savannah is going to be a ton of fun and the epic professional development opportunity that it always is for people in this sector every year. But for the association itself, what do you see in the next couple of years that you're really excited about?
That's such a great question. And I really appreciate that because I think sometimes for myself in the day to day really sometimes can feel kind of repetitive. With membership, there's a lot of, get in the application, process the application, talk to the new member, different things like that. But I will say a couple of things that SYTA has already, gotten some wheels and is starting to grow. Is we introduced a little while ago a new membership type, which is our international affiliate. And so that is, I think people sometimes think of SYTA again as the conference, right? And so they think, well, if I can't go to the conference, I don't need to join the association. And that couldn't be further from the truth, right? Because we've talked about all the different benefits that are go throughout the year. The conference is our premier event where people come together, but there's so much to offer every other, part of the year besides August. And so with that, we found that our international folks weren't engaging with us as much because maybe they didn't have the budget or the accessibility to make it to a show, to a conference. And so we introduced this new membership type, and it has been really exciting to see that grow. And so I anticipate that we're going to see a lot more growth internationally, which has been, just really fun to because we are an international association. We are global. We are not just domestic US or North America. And so that has already started to grow, and I anticipate that that's going to get even bigger. So I'm excited to see that happening. The other thing, just to mention, you know, there's been a lot going on in the advocacy world, in the political world that has had an impact on the industry.
Mm,
Obviously, we know what happened over COVID. Everybody was impacted, right? Took a little while to bounce back, and now there's a few things that are I will say toying a little bit with the industry and having some impacts.
certainly.
Um, SYTA has had the opportunity to really lend its voice to these advocacy efforts. And so, I've had the opportunity myself to attend a couple of Hill Days, meet with our legislators face to face, come together with USTA, USTOA, and really, again, just make the industry stronger. And
Nice.
so SYTA has really done a good job at working very well with all these other travel and tourism associations to make our voice heard. Again, because we know the impacts that some of these things can have on the travel and tourism industry. And for us, we want to keep those kids traveling.
Yeah.
And the good news, I think, for SYTA members is that youth market at this point probably seems the least impacted. But we can't rest on our laurels and assume that that's always going to be the same, right? We've got to stay on top of it and make sure that we are advocating on behalf of the industry. So those are some things that I think moving forward to the future, seeing our international growth and really becoming a voice in global tourism. And then being a strong advocate and really being in the forefront of those efforts for our members.
Those are some exciting things. Expanding abroad and increasing presence on Capitol Hill, big moves. Love to hear that.
Okay.
Um, Amy, for anyone that wants to continue the conversation with you or just interact with SYTA, the association themselves, what should they do? How can they keep in touch with you all and start to involve themselves?
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you for asking. Of course, my favorite part of my job is actually getting to talk to potential members. So give me a call, send me an email, put some time on my calendar. That's my, you know what? Does anyone use Calendly? Do you guys use that
We
or
do
any?
actually.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's the best thing ever, right? I just last night I had two meetings pop up and I was like, ooh, two potential new members, right? But
there you go.
those 30-minute touch bases. And so give us a call, and I will say this in complete transparency, SYTA might not be for you, or it might not
Right.
be right now, and that's totally okay. Our goal is to get people in the right spot, and to do the business that they want to do, and grow positively and strategically, for what makes sense for your business. So give me a holler, shoot me an email. Let's get on the phone and talk about what SYTA means for you.
We'll go ahead and drop all of your contact information, phone number, email, and Calendly link in the show
Perfect.
notes for the podcast. But for right now, thank you so much again, Amy, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you for
So if
having
I can interject real quick, the one thing I will say about SYTA, one part of my job that I love is when I'm talking to someone who's a new tour operator and be able to point them to Amy's direction. But as a supplier too, I think what's really important to note is like just because you might not get business the first year doesn't mean that you won't. So I think that that's like the one really important takeaway is that sometimes it takes a few years. Sometimes the timing isn't right for the tour operators because if you think about it, a lot of their trips are planned 2 and 3 years out.
Yeah.
So like maybe if you're a new city, they haven't gotten to you yet. It doesn't mean they won't. And I think back to the point of meeting them, at the opening event, having an appointment with them, seeing them, out, taking them to a dine around, all of those things are super important to make that connection back because they will remember that and they will remember to be like, hey, I know I met someone, from a city I haven't been to. Like, I need to go to the SYTA membership directory and find out who that person is. So I think some people tend to think if it doesn't, like the ROI doesn't exist year one, that it was not it wasn't money well spent. But the reality is, it does take time in some occasions, and not everyone realizes how long the runway is for the trips that are planned by tour operators.
It's
Yeah.
it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Correct.
It's maybe even a half marathon that you do
That we
after a
walk.
6 a.m. flight.
The police come up behind us and
Move you along.
It's one you really got to dig deep for, but in the end, it is worth it. It's for the greater good.
Can I
I want to say thank
add
you
to
both
that?
so much. Sharon, we are going to ask you to stick around. You are going to be our subject of interest in the next segment. So we are all going to take a quick break and get right back to Miss Sharon Keating, VP of Sales here at GroupCollect. So stick around for that. All right, everybody, and that was Amy Cannon of SYTA. She was an absolute delight to speak with. I hope that everybody that is listening to this right now, if you have not considered membership with SYTA in the past and you just learned about it for the first time, by all means, get at her. All of her information, as we mentioned, is going to be in the show notes. If you are a member or if you have been a part of the student group travel industry for a while and you haven't been to SYTA, what are you waiting for? They are a ton of fun, and if that conversation didn't jazz you up about being around a group of your industry peers, then I don't know what will, quite frankly.
I don't know what could possibly do that.
If there was any possible way that we could outdo the last interview that we had, it is, though, with our very own GroupCollect's Sharon Keating, our VP of Sales. And Ryan, the one thing I wanted to ask you about before we got into this interview, we threw a curveball at Sharon at the end, asking her who she thinks is the best dressed member of the GroupCollect team. My question for you is, do you think it's you?
No, 100% not. 100%
Zero
not.
hesitation.
Well, no, but just, a little behind the scenes story for our listeners here. When Ed made the big announcement to us that we were taking this podcast to a video format, he sent me a very loving and very gentle message being like, hey, Ryan, just as a reminder, the podcast is going to be on video now, so you need to put some thought into what you're wearing on days that we're recording. So that gives you an idea about the fact that no, it is 100% not me.
Oh man, wait, you're saying that was me? I started being the dress code police?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
It's true. I mean, we have yet to make that leap into video. I'm going to say this personally, editorially. I very much hope that everyone is enjoying the audio only version of the show. It is much easier to produce this way. But we do aspire to go into video, certainly the short form video clips, so that more people that like business and group travel and student group travel content are discovering us out in the wild, because that's just the way that it works nowadays. Personally, though, I think that your style is kind of snappy. I mean, that's just me. But we asked Sharon because we hold her fashion opinion in very high regard. So, without further ado, here is our conversation with Sharon Keating of Group Collect. All right, everybody, and welcome back to Group Collect, the podcast. We are here yet again with Miss Sharon Keating. Sharon, you were kind of our honorary co-host in the last interview session with Amy Cannon. That was wonderful, your former coworker. But now the focus is on you. We want to learn more about you, and we want to talk about all the things. So with that, why don't you go ahead and start us off? Tell us about your background in the group travel industry and how did you join Group Collect where you are currently?
Okay. Well, my work background is actually super eclectic, so I don't know if a lot of people know that. So I started off in temporary help, which if you don't know what temporary help is, we don't have all the time in the world. So just find me on the side because it's a very interesting work situation.
Okay.
Finding people for temporary jobs that could be 1 day, 4 hours, or 3 months, or a
Ah.
year. So it was kind of an interesting way after college to kind of get into that. Then I worked for two international PR firms for about 12 years in HR and operations. Then after, I'm trying to think, it was about 2010. The industry sort of took a hit because of the internet exploding. So I was on the operations side. So they kind of did some transition. So I was actually interviewing for an HR job within the association management company that ran SYTA. So I actually went in thinking I was interviewing to do HR for all of the different associations as the association management group, which was the name of the company. And as soon as I met the president, he's like, whoa, time out. You need to go talk to SYTA because they're looking for an associate director. I think you'd be perfect for it. So I was like, what? I don't even understand. Like, what are we doing? And so I ended up going, talking to a few folks. The board happened to be in town. So I met some folks and as soon as I knew it, there I was working for SYTA as the associate director. So that job included anything from sponsorship to membership to communications, kind of everything, all encompassing. And so I was there from 2010 to 2014. Then I took a complete right turn and worked for an interior design firm for several years. Which is kind of now turned into a little bit of a passion for me as opposed to a career, obviously. And then I decided that I wanted to kind of get back into something a little bit more professional in the association world. So I worked for the American Diabetes Association. And then my dad at the time had diabetes. So it was like really interesting to be in that situation, like kind of learning, doing sponsorships, running all of our events to raise money. So from my time at SYTA with the SYTA Youth Foundation, kind of tied back into that. And then Bud found me and said that he had this great opportunity and a chance to come back to the travel industry. It was terrible timing as far as leaving my job, but I decided to take a leap of faith. And like I said earlier, I called Amy and I'm like, should I do this? She's like, absolutely. So that was in 2022, and here I am.
Very nice. I'm going to ask a quick follow-up question to all of that. First of all, eclectic to say the least, your work background, but I think that that makes for some of the coolest and most interesting people to work with. Um, when you were in PR, before you first started working with SYTA, you were in the DC, Virginia area, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And now you had mentioned, kind of jokingly in the last interview, that you know what the student group travel industry is if you are in DC in the springtime. Certainly, most people listening can relate. Personally, was that your experience? Did you know what a big industry student group travel was before you got involved with SYTA?
That's a great question. Yes and no. Honestly, my first trip to DC in my whole life was my eighth grade trip. So I was on a bus
You did
from
one of these
Rochester.
things.
So I
Yeah.
did one.
Yeah.
So did I realize how expansive it was? Probably not. But like all you have to do is walk around DC trying to get lunch in March and April, and you will see every eighth grade eighth grader seemingly in the entire country is
For
roaming
sure.
the streets of DC and matching t-shirts with teachers with flags. So yes, I did. And I think that that trip, back to Amy's point, like while I had the luxury of traveling a little bit as a kid, I had never been to DC, and it did completely open my eyes. And if you had ever told me as an eighth grader I would have lived and worked in DC, I never in a million years would have believed you. But then it kind of all comes back to you. So when, you get back in there, I ended up working in Crystal City. We stayed in Crystal City. The sketchy motel that we stayed in is still there. I don't think it's used for student travel, thank God, anymore. But it's still standing. I don't know what it's used for at this point. I don't even know if it's an operating motel, but you go underneath the street. Like, so it's just like all of those things like kind of totally come back to you. And you're like, this is so wild that as an adult, I am now like roaming the streets as like a working adult while these kids are running around beside me, because that was me, 30 years prior.
Exactly.
Yes, well, we've talked about it a little bit, but can you just tell us what is your current title with Group Collect?
It's a vice president of sales, which incorporates all sorts of things. So I think one of the questions, if I remember, is like, what's the daily life of someone in that role? Am I right about that?
Yes.
So it could be anything. Like it's a lot of things. It's demos for the products. I've been doing Group Collect Register for most of the time. I'm dipping my toes into Group Collect Quotes. I led my first quotes demo last Friday, which was a little terrifying, but luckily Bud was there to have my back to answer some questions that weren't as natural for me, having not been a tour operator myself. So I think that's something, but I think that product is super amazing. Always helping with onboarding, customer service. That's probably my favorite piece, is when a tour operator calls me and has a question about something. One of my favorites recently was, it'd be so great. It would be so great if your flight list exported to Southwest. And I just kind of giggled and I'm like, it does. And they're like, wait, what? So I don't know if they had like tuned out during the demo and onboarding process, but until you actually need some of those particular reports, it's so hard. Kathleen and I know, like going to onboarding, there is so many features and functions of the product that
Yeah.
it's hard to get to all of them. And what's important today, might not be what's important to you 3 months from now. So to be able to know that some of those features have already been built in, and to say, we got your back, we have this one for you, there's nothing better. So, and I think just hearing every person I talk to is so complimentary about our entire staff and their ability to answer questions in a timely manner, not making people wait, just being able to be that resource. Because I feel like in a lot of industries, customer service is, you've got to hit like 77 buttons till you even get to talk to someone, if you do. And the fact that we're all real people and talk to them and help them through their issues is amazing.
Absolutely. Yes. And just to your point there, Sharon, too, like we said, like our system is so robust that if any of you listening are like, I wonder if they can do this, just ask, reach out to us. Chances are we've got a way that we can do it for you.
Right, that the answer is probably already yes, and that it just comes down to an education session. So that's your favorite part of your day to day, then you'd say, huh, Sharon?
I love that. Yeah, I mean, because you're helping someone save time,
Hmm.
and that way they can spend their time focusing on sales or helping their customers. So to me, if I can help solve a problem over here and gives them the opportunity to have more time in their day to do anything else. Like, Amy had to go do something for her son's birthday. Like, those are the kind of things that, like, you just want to be able to be that person and be that answer for some of the questions that they have.
Right. And the whole essence of GroupCollect Register is that it's you're not just giving a person a fish, we are teaching you how to fish so that this is going to be a long-term solution for efficiency in perpetuity, let's say.
Correct.
So, I like to look towards the future. So I've asked this question of Amy. Now I'm asking the same of you about your respective organization here with GroupCollect. What excites you the most about our organization for the future?
What excites me the most is probably seeing all of the different pieces that we've been building kind of on the back end that people haven't been able to see yet kind of come together to fruition. So seeing that quotes product come to life, knowing there's 45 operators in there, even though we haven't even opened it up to the grander tour operator public, like seeing them having all those dots be connected for them and being like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even think of this, this is so amazing. And then seeing our ops tool and how that can help streamline and solidify the whole process of group travel planning. I think, it's amazing. But what's also great about our organization is that if you only need one piece of it, we've built it so you can only use one piece. So if you don't need all three steps, but you need, a quoting feature, we've got you. If you need just a registration piece, we've got you. If you want to like dip into the whole pool of everything we have to offer, I think a year from now, people's minds will be blown about how efficient we are able to be for people planning group travel.
That is exciting. Agree with you on that. And for anyone listening, please stay tuned and check out all of the GroupCollect platforms that are coming down the pike.
So you have been with GroupCollect since 2020. Can you please tell us, if you can think of just one, your favorite moment from being on the GroupCollect team so far?
Well, being on the GroupCollect team, I think it's something you can't recreate it. I mean, I think the industry as a whole, you can't recreate, but I think our team in particular, I've never worked with so many people that have each other's backs the way we do. If someone, is going to be on vacation, there's not even a question that somebody else has your back. If you're struggling with how to answer a question, you've got somebody. If you need someone to help with a difficult conversation, you've got someone. And I think the support that we have, all the, starting from Corey all the way down, everybody's in it for the same reason. And they all have the same philosophy on customer service and taking care of each other and taking care of our clients and watching them grow and seeing, their faces light up and change when that you've actually made a huge difference in the way they do business. So then they can grow as an organization. Like that is something that not everybody gets to see, like in their life as, an employee at some company, where we, I think, have that luxury almost daily, which is super. I mean, I've said it a million times. I'm like, it can't be recreated. I mean, I really don't think it can be.
It's such a wholesome answer because your favorite moment of being on the GroupCollect team is every moment.
I mean, it is like truly it is. I mean, I will say, like, have there been a couple, like one of my favorites, like going back into an industry conference. I think my first conference after I joined was SYTA. And, it had been a long time. And it was the first conference that they had come back together in person. So like seeing everyone connect, like that was super cool. And like
post-COVID, you mean, right? The first
totally.
conference
Yeah. And
post-COVID.
like the funniest part was someone's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a couple of years. I'm like, really? You haven't seen me in 9 years? But like the fact that they didn't even realize that 9 years had gone by, like was so like, it's so awesome. But they remember you like you saw them last week. So I think that's something, again, it goes back, tying it back to the whole, SYTA relationship in the tourism industry as a whole. That would happen at ABA, it would happen at NTA as well. TAP, all of the different industry partners that we work with. It's just, you can't replicate it. Or if you can, I haven't seen it, or I don't know anyone who has the experiences that we get to have. And no one that I talk to is like, I know my company's just like that. Like, not one person that I know says that. So I think it's a pretty unique and a pretty special situation.
And you would know because you have a nice basis of comparison having worked in so many industries.
I know, which I don't know if that says that my mom was always having a heart attack because my dad only worked at one place his whole life. My mom only worked at two. So they were like, whoa, what are you doing changing jobs? And I would stay at places for 8 years, 4 years. I mean, I wasn't like hopping around
Right.
after a year. I was there for like extended periods of time. So maybe I'm dating myself a little bit too much, but that's just the reality. But like it hasn't been the same. Like there's been pieces of things that are the same, but nothing like this team, like truly.
I think that it's affirming to hear that because again, we all kind of have this suspicion, especially if this is one of the only industries that you've worked in, where it's like, wow, this feels really special. This feels really tight knit. There seems to be this like greater purpose that we're all kind of serving, and like everyone's on the same team instead of competitors undermining one another. There's like this collaborative spirit. And I think that people wonder, is it like that in other spaces? And I think it's actually like you're not crazy to think like, no, this is special. This is something that's unique in group travel. And then again, even more so maybe because of the niche of student group travel. But it's nice to hear that affirmed by somebody that has a larger sample size, such as yourself.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Like, one of our tour operators recently posted something about collaboration and that people who are competitors, if you don't collaborate, I'm not even gonna try to quote it because I won't get it right, but basically saying the people who collaborate end up on top
Yeah.
and those who compete end up on the bottom. I'm paraphrasing, but that is so true. And like to see people willing to help one another out in our industry, even though they are technically the piece of the pie they're going after. But if they're in different, geographic areas, they're really not, but they really truly just want to help one another. And that goes to say, like, people who refer us to other people, like, that's the highest form of flattery is when you get a referral and someone's like, yeah, I talked to so and so who highly recommended your product. They can't believe that, when they text you, you call them back like instantaneously, or, you answer your phone every time it rings. I mean, it's a different experience that I think we bring to the table, and everyone on our team does it. It's not unique to any one of us. We all are like that, which is so refreshing because it's unheard of, truly.
Well, I feel sufficiently flattered to be included in that group. So
Well,
thank
I
you.
will say you got some huge props because we were at it. We've been doing a bunch of sponsorships lately, and we've been doing them a little bit more uniquely than I would say most people, where they just kind of stand and present. We've got Bud, who's our, resident. I don't know how we would even describe him. He's just so
I mean,
resident actor, musician, leader. I don't know. He's all the things, but your
he's like a
commercial.
chilled out entertainer.
Right.
Entertainer, yes. Yeah.
Hater, true, true, true. So, but like the commercials that Eric, that you put together specifically, people were like, I've never seen something so unique. Like I'm getting what you're selling without you really selling it to me, but you're showing me that A, you're fun, but B, you've got a serious product that backs up everything that you're saying. So I've like been able to laugh and learn at the same time. And that's a really unique thing because I remember being at a few shows like the sponsorships after us, it was like someone just reading, 7 pages of text where, not to say it wasn't interesting, but like to be able to kind of add a different flair to it and make it fun and engaging and having people participate. We did Industry Feud at Tap Dance a few weeks ago, and having two teams up there and being able to incorporate other suppliers into our presentation. Again, never heard of. Nobody does that, but we
Right.
are able to do that and actually let them shine a little bit as well, because I think overall, our product is meant to kind of help everyone shine, both the tour operators and the suppliers.
It's true. It's true. And I
That
also
will
think that being a little bit weird and non-traditional is on brand for us because I think that that's the product that we offer is that this is going to be a very innovative solution that's going to help you to make business more efficient in a way that you've never been capable of properly or probably.
Yeah.
And so if we are going to be a different product, then by golly, we may as well be a little bit different in those conferences as well, right?
But to hear people who even don't use us and even might not be like, that was the best presentation I've ever seen someone sell a product. I mean, you don't hear that either. You know what I mean? Like, how many times have you walked off, seen a sponsor and been like, that was the best presentation I've ever seen? Like, it just doesn't happen. And the fact that it happened multiple times in the last 3 months has been just a really cool, unique thing to see and have people, kind of get in the spirit with us and, just able to laugh with us and go along with the ride. It's been great.
Yes,
Well,
so here's our plug. If you don't follow us on social media, now's your time because Eric can share these little tidbits that Sharon is talking about.
Facebook, YouTube, find us at groupcollect.com, LinkedIn. But to your original point, Sharon, team effort. Team
Yeah.
effort where I couldn't do my part without all of you all. So I will say I believe that we saved the most important and serious question for last. Sharon,
Yes.
please get ready to answer seriously. Who's the best dressed person on the Group Collect team?
Are we talking about conference dressing or Zoom dressing? So I feel like those could be different people.
Oh, I mean, these are fair distinctions, and I want you to answer the question as you see fit. If there are multiple answers, then go for it.
I mean, I'm probably going to go Bryce Wilson.
Wow,
I
for
feel
both?
like Bryce, I feel like he brings it. He brings it no matter where he goes. I feel like he dresses to the occasion. If he needs a sport coat, he has a sport coat. If he
True.
needs just a golf shirt, nice pair of pants, he brings it. I mean, I would say Bud, but I've been having to like replenish his wardrobe a little bit lately. So I called Michelle and tell her that I'm about to send a new shirt because I'm sick of the same conference shirts because I tend to see him the most of all of the group collect team members. So I've needed him to kind of expand his wardrobe. But
The whole
that's to
reason for
say,
this question was because of it not being Bud. We figured that that would be the last of your answers. Again, not saying he's not a well-dressed individual, but just that you have commented on the repetition in the wardrobe because you go to so many conferences with him. And a
that
man can really only have so much business attire.
I mean, the reality is, when we were sitting at a show and he was wearing a shirt and there was a video playing from prior years and he had that shirt on, then in my
You're
phone,
busted.
I took, like I would take a picture when we did a road trip too. We were doing a sales road show and he had that same shirt on. I'm like, this shirt needs to be retired. It's time. So I didn't hesitate to jump on and order him a few shirts and just text Michelle and say, if you get weird packages coming with just random shirts with
Mhm.
no gift card, they're coming from me just because I need him to be in a new shirt.
See, now that is teammate support to another level right there. When
Yes.
when you
Yeah.
start shopping for your teammate to make sure that, they're not being called out as outfit repeaters at the conferences and the videos. I mean, that really is proof that we've
Well,
got
now I'm like super self-conscious too. So like now I got to make sure that
yeah.
like I can't,
Don't
so
you dare outfit repeat.
I got
Bud's
to
gonna put you
step
on
my game
blast.
up. I got to step my game up.
Well,
So
yes, and in all honesty as well, Sharon, you can't put yourself, I mean, you are one of the best dressed as well. So
kind
there's
of,
that. We all have you to look up to.
Well,
So,
I think that that's why this question is in the interview with Sharon, is because she is the tastemaker of the Group Collect team. I mean, look at this Zoom background. You would not believe the Pier 1 vibes that Sharon's living room gives off. It's enviable.
gold. Yes, it's
Yeah.
gold.
yeah. I don't think I have anything from Pier 1 back there, but if I did, not that I
That
don't like Pier 1, but I think it's closed now.
I would
So,
say, are they still a thing?
oh,
Pier 1 got their inspiration from Sharon. Let's put it
okay.
that way. You might not own, but everyone knows that like beautiful, well-balanced aesthetic, and that's just what you got going on. I'm saying I respect it, and everyone else should as well. But we want to say thank you so much, Miss Sharon Keating, VP of Sales here at Group Collect. We appreciate your time. We thank you for all your kind words and being here with the listeners of Group Collect, the podcast today.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, and that was our conversation with Sharon Keating of Group Collect, an absolute just a legend in her own right. It was wonderful being able to chat with her and help the listeners to get to know her as well as we have gotten to know her as teammates over these last couple years because she's just a gem.
She sure
And
is.
yeah, so that's going to do it for our episode today. Ryan, any final thoughts for the listeners before we sign off?
I'm really excited to see you all down at SYTA. Sign up if you haven't already.
That is correct. But that's going to do it for our show today. If you have any questions about Group Collect, the podcast, this episode, any comments, feelings about what you have just heard, email me directly at Eric, ERIK, at groupcollect.com. If you want to be a guest on the show, heck, if you want to be a part of Group Collect, the podcast, email me, Eric at groupcollect.com, or if you have a great guest suggestion. But we want to hear the voices of the group travel industry. That's what this show is and will continue to be about. But on behalf of my co-host Ryan Kramer here, we're going to be reminding all the listeners until next time to stay cool and collecting. This has been a Group Collect production.